What is up, everybody? Welcome back to Mount Mograph Summit 60. Let me check my notes here. Just kidding, I do not have any notes. It's going to be Summit 68, the Morphy Text Countdown inside Adobe After Effects. In today's video, we're going to be going ahead and creating a cool little psychedelic countdown, I guess you'd call it, with a lot of subtle little effects, and also we're going to go ahead and use a tool that we've never used before. So I think it should be a fun video. I'm excited to do this, and anyway, let's go ahead and jump right into it. So I already got my comp set up. I got the 1920 by 1080 10-second timeline, 30 frames per second, really straightforward. So let's go ahead and just real quick create some text, because we're going to go ahead and make a countdown, so we're going to want to have some text. So I'm going to do 3, 2, 1, and for our reference, I'm going to go ahead and just type a 3. I'm going to duplicate this layer and type a 2, and duplicate that layer and make a 1. So then I'm just going to go ahead and center up these anchor points and center this up actually in our composition right in the middle. So we're in good shape to get rolling with this. So let's go ahead and hide both R2 and 1. So I originally tried to do this effect with actually just like converting the text to paths here with this thing, and honestly it got a little bit messy, so we're going to go ahead and hand do it and make use of our pen tool skills. So that'll be cool. So let's go ahead and just grab our pen tool here, so with G, and probably we're going to want to switch our fill just off so we're able to see our line. So I'm going to turn my stroke on and maybe change the color to something that really sticks out, like this blue. And I'll just keep the stroke at 4. So what we're going to do is just go ahead and trace our 3, and then we'll roll on with the rest of the video. So this is kind of that initial step that's going to be a little bit boring. But you get to use Bezier handles and kind of practice your pen tool skills. So that should be kind of fun. I'm going to go ahead and just kind of do this rough. I'm not going to spend a ton of time with this. And yeah, I don't know if I should speed up this part or not. Let's see if I do in the edit. If not, I guess I'll just kind of talk here. Alright, so we've got that first little 3 traced. Let's go ahead and just toggle down here, hold command, click your arrow, and make a keyframe on the path, because that is what we're going to be changing. So I'm going to press U on my keyboard, and it's not perfect, but I'm not going to really worry about that right now. I'm going to go ahead and hide my 3 and open my 2, and I may as well lock both those layers. And so now go forward in your timeline to maybe 1 second here, and with your path tool selected, we're just going to go ahead and move these points we just made to line up with R2, which is kind of going to start to give us this morph effect. So this is where you're going to want to be a little bit careful with your Bezier handles and really trying to line things up. So once again, I'm going to just go ahead and speed up this video so you don't have to just watch me blabber away and click these keyframes. Okay, so as you can see here, I thought I'd come back to this video just to tell you this real quick. I kind of loosely set up where my little points are going to be for this part of the tracing, and then I'll go back and fix them. I just kind of wanted to lay out where the keyframes are going to move to, and then you can go ahead and zoom in and just kind of tweak those Bezier points. So once again, I'll speed up the video so I don't have to waste your time, and we'll jump back into the next number. Alright, so we're back. We've got that 2 traced, and it looks pretty good. So now our transition is going to be kind of cool between those 2 numbers, and this is a lot easier than tracing it and just pasting the path, because you'll kind of get some janky little keyframes there. So let's go ahead, trace that 1, and then jump onto the cool parts of the video. Alright, so I'm back. As you can see, I've done my classic super wiggly trace of this 1. I would never use a font that looks like this, but that's what we have right now. So I'm just going to throw out a little fact here. You may or may not know, if you have this, see, I chose blue, and my shape path is also traced with blue. So if you switch your layer color actually to something you can see, you'll be able to also see your path a little bit easier. So like right there, I have some contrast. I was kind of clicking blindly. So now I'm going to go ahead and just tweak those Bezier points to kind of make it line up with this 1 a little bit better. So quick little speed up, and we'll be right back. Okay, so we are back. As you can see here, I have okay, it's traced okay. It's nothing fantastic, but we do have that little morph between the numbers. So what you can do is go ahead and finesse this, like in between these little keyframes. You can go and maybe delay one if you don't like how it's looking and you want to make it a little bit more rounded, or anything like that until you're happy with the general animation of this. So you're going to want to obviously keep your amount of points down because it'll just make it easier in the long run. So I did okay with this, but I would actually try to use less. As you can see, it starts to get a little crazy going into the 2 and 1. So that's why it took a little bit longer to animate. So there we go. We have our quick little animation, and it's pretty smooth. I'm actually all right with that movement, and we're going to be able to kind of sneak in a way to make this look even smoother in the next couple steps. So let's go ahead and just add some easing on here so we have a nice little snap into the places, and that looks cool. So I don't really need these numbers anymore. I'm going to unlock them and delete them. So what we're going to do is grab these keyframes, copy them, and just paste them you know, a little bit after. It doesn't matter how many frames, just so now we're going to have like a kind of a lock into each of the positions before it goes and changes. So there we go. We have our animation. It gets a little rocky right in here. So I'm guessing that's something to do with the Bezier point. So like right there, I could just kind of smooth that out and go ahead and tweak that for any of the in-betweens between this little animation. But that was the only one that really stuck out bad to me. And other than that, I'm cool with this. So let's go ahead and switch this stroke. We're going to go ahead and turn this off, and we're going to turn our fill on, and you know, pick some color. It doesn't matter. We're going to go ahead and make this look super intricate. So with our first layer selected, that looks great. You know, wow, what a phenomenal number animation we have going on. So let's do our classic duplicate and change the color. So I'm going to duplicate it, drag it below my original one, and just change the color to something that might have a nice contrast. I'm just guessing here that a teal will look all right. So we'll press U to see our keyframes, and press Option on your keyboard, and just do the mouse tool, or not the mouse tool, sorry, the arrow keys on your keyboard to kind of stagger those keyframes, or you can just drag them over manually. So that is not a very good looking color. I'm going to go ahead and try to find something that looks a little bit better, maybe this red. And then I'll duplicate this layer one more time, drag it beneath, and do the same thing with this stagger. So I'll do the Option hold and click over on my arrow keys twice, and then I'll switch this color to once again get a nice contrast, and maybe the blue will work now. So there we go. We have our animation. Now when I play it, I'm going to have this nice little staggered effect that looks pretty cool. So let's go ahead and make a composition out of this, or a pre-comp. So I'm going to do Shift-Command-C on my keyboard and name this numbers. So there we go. We have our sweet numbers. And I'm going to click into my numbers and just find this first keyframe for our original animation. So what I'm going to do is go back. I'm going to actually close this pre-comp into our comp we just made and grab a new effect called Bezier Warp. Or it's not a new effect, it's a new effect for tutorials or summits. So let's drop that onto our layer and create keyframes for all of these little options. So this is a cool effect to kind of make your animation look super intricate. So what I'm going to do is just copy all these keyframes, click forward into my numbers pre-comp, and press K on my keyboard till I hit that next set of keys right there for the top layer, and just paste it in place. I will copy both of these, go back to my numbers, and find the next kind of lock into place. We want these keyframes to just kind of time out with every time the number, the top layer, kind of snaps into its resting position. So there we go. I've pasted 3 sets of keyframes, and now when I play this animation, well, it's going to play a little bit slower, so I'll actually knock the resolution down to half since it's in a pre-comp, but there we go. So it's playing, and nothing's happening, and that's where this Bezier warp is going to come into play. So in between each of these number transitions, we're going to go ahead and change some of the keys on here and get this cool effect. So I'm going to select my Bezier warp tool, and actually, you know what I should do is click into my numbers composition and do Command K on your keyboard to see your composition settings. And we're going to change the width quite a bit, actually. Let's see how small we can make this. I'll make it to 800 and maybe 600. Is that going to work? So I'll press OK. Let's see where we're at. So I'm going to do Command K one more time. We actually want it to be as small as we can make it into where our numbers are. So I'm going to go ahead and just shrink my height a little bit and my width a little bit more. We do want to have some room for where the numbers are going to line up, but that looks pretty good to me. So I'm going to click OK on my keyboard, go back into my comp one, and now the Bezier points are actually kind of around where our composition is because this is a pre-comp. So this will be cool. So in between each of these animations, as they move, we're going to want to add a little bit of kind of bend to make this look more interesting. So you can kind of bulge and bend with this Bezier warp in a really interesting way. So as this is coming down into the 3, we could go ahead and maybe accentuate this by dragging the Bezier thing down here. Whoopsie. You want to grab these little kind of like target looking points. I'm going to bend it out there, maybe bend this in. There's a whole bunch of them, so you can do quite a bit with it. But you don't want to distort it too much. You can turn up your quality. I'm going to turn it up to 10 here. And we'll just see how that looks. So there we go. It's kind of bending as this is happening. And we're getting a little bit more of an interesting animation. So I'm going to change these points so they're not all changing at the same time. And we have a little bit of kind of an organic movement here. So I'll maybe bend this one in. But as you can see, this deformation is really interesting to do over your comp. So now we have all that happening as we go into the 2. And then as we go into the 2, and transition into the 1, let's go ahead and do something else. So I may squeeze it over to this side and also give it a little bit of a bulge on this side and bend it up. So I'll grab all these keys and just add some easing real quick, and we'll check out what's happening. So now when I play this, we have this really kind of interesting little snap into each of the various positions. So let's check this out here. So that's cool. I'm pretty happy with this. Let's go ahead and actually smooth out some of these points just a little bit more by grabbing something called a simple choker. So we'll grab the simple choker and place it on here and just maybe turn our quality up. I'm holding Command so it changes in decimals. You probably hear my dog in the background. Let me go ahead and pause it. All right, we're back. Sorry about that. And let me go ahead and hold Command and keep toggling through this choke mat until I get a nice kind of rounded corners, and some of those hard edges from the deformation are a little bit smoothed out. So now when we play this, we're going to have a nice little animation coming together that looks pretty cool. So I'm going to play this for another second and just make sure I'm happy with it. And yeah, it's looking pretty good. So let's go ahead and add a couple more things to really make this effect look way more interesting. I'm going to go ahead and do Command Y on my keyboard for a new solid and just grab another effect. This is called I think CC ball action or something like that. I'm just going to type in ball because I'm really not sure what this effect is called. Oh, I was right. CC ball action. So we're going to drag this onto our red solid here. And as you can see, a whole bunch of dots show up. So let's turn our ball size down. To I guess 39 works for me, and you can turn up your spacing and get all kinds of crazy effects. It's actually a fun little effect to play with. You can scatter all of them. You can scatter all these points and have a lot of fun with it. So let me go ahead and turn my ball size down and maybe my grid spacing down as well until I have all these nice little dots over my composition. So what I'm going to do is duplicate my numbers layer, drag it above my red solid, and track mat alpha onto the numbers. So now it's going to be sticking out from the rest of our animation. So I'm going to drag these two layers beneath our normal layers one, and I'm going to drag this numbers alpha mat over to the right about 2 or 3 spaces. So you can hold Option and do page down on your keyboard, or just drag it over till it looks good. So as you can see, now we're having this nice kind of delayed, pixelated looking thing. That's an easy way to make your animation look way more intricate than it actually is. So let's go ahead and duplicate these 2 layers and drag this beneath both of them again, or actually let's keep it above. And what we're going to do is do Shift Command E to delete our effect that is on our effect controls, and we're going to grab another effect called Venetian blinds, and we're going to drop this onto our solid as well. So with this one, let's go ahead and just scale up our layer, our numbers layer, just for a second to see what's going on. And we're going to click our red solid with the Venetian blinds and just turn up our transition complete a little bit to see what we're getting. So let's go ahead and rotate this maybe diagonally or just something kind of interesting like this, and turn our width up a touch and maybe our transition complete. So we now have this nice little line deal going on here. So that looks cool. Let's go ahead and just leave it like that. We're actually going to keep this one kind of static, and we're going to go back to our scale of our numbers and turn this down to 100. So that's cool as well. So let's click U on our keyboard to see our keyframes. We have a bajillion. And we're going to once again line up a couple things with when these animations are locking into place. So if we go to the numbers with that Venetian blinds on there, we're going to set a keyframe on our scale and go back in time to this other keyframe here and set a keyframe on our scale. We'll copy these two scale keyframes, paste it on the next group here, and then go forward and paste it on the next group. So we have a lot going on. Let's go ahead and take a look in the middle of these animations. So we have the delay, but we could still make this look cooler. So let's just pop up our number 3 for a second, and then let it scale down back to 100%. And then in the next one, why don't we scale it down? So that looks cool. We're having a nice little staggered effect. I'm going to switch my red solid, so Shift Command Y on my keyboard, to some other color so we can get a bit of a contrast going instead of all red. So that's cool. I'm going to press OK on my keyboard, and I might switch my my mode here to something like color burn, or I don't know, just go through here and find something you like, maybe linear dodge. That looks a little bit better. Actually, what I should do is switch this to normal, drag this to the back, and switch the dots to linear normal, so we get a nice little change. So I'll do linear dodge or lighter color. What did I say? Sorry, a little all over the place today. Let me go ahead to linear burn. Maybe try one more. Linear dodge. That's what I wanted. So I'm going to go ahead and just turn down the opacity on it so it's not quite as apparent, and also the opacity on our blue too. So now when I play this animation, we're having quite a bit going on, and it's looking, you know, pretty cool. We could definitely tweak things a bit. So I'm going to do U on my keyboard, and actually make sure that I have added some ease to this scale here. So I'll do this so it changes nice and snappy. I might have added a bit too much of the scale, but the idea's there. So there we go. Starting to get a cool little animation together, and I think we could still kick it up a notch. So let's go ahead and create a new null. So just new, and you can grab a null object, and let's position this near the bottom of our 3. And then we'll parent all of these layers to our null object, and we're going to go ahead and press R on our keyboard for a rotation and set a keyframe. And then let's take a look at our numbers here, or actually we should take a look at the scale keyframes here just to line it up so we don't have to see all the keyframes. And we'll set a keyframe on the rotation, go forward in time and set another keyframe on the rotation, and do the same trick we've been doing before, where we just kind of set keyframes to just hold our position as we change. So as this is going, I think it would be cool if we kind of rock this number to add a little bit of dynamic motion as it's kind of wiggling around and changing. So that looks like it might knock over this way, and then it kind of settles on the 1, but maybe it goes all the way this way before. And then I'll just add some easing, and we'll take a look at our animation. And as you can see, you're starting to get this really, really interesting little animation coming together that looks pretty complex, and it looks like we did quite a bit of work with maybe like a turbulent displace, or moving around an object, or even just going crazy with the path tool. But so that's it. That is the Morphy Text Countdown inside Adobe After Effects. If you spend a little bit more time with it, you can definitely get something together that, you know, looks a little bit cleaner. We kind of did that quick, but that's how you make it. So I hope you had fun with the video today. I'll catch you guys later. Subscribe, like the channel, leave a comment, anything you want, and high five. I'll catch you guys later. See ya.